Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming back for some more crazy news in this crazy world that we live in. But guys, just before we go on, I have got not a secret message. I have got a message from a little girl who is stood just behind the camera. What is it? What does the little girl want to say?
Stay safe and make sure you have at least 3 days of water.
And how much is 3 days of water? What do we mean by 3 days of water?
About 3 liters per person, like every day.
So that's, guys, you've heard it there. Stay safe. Make sure you've got 3 liters of water per person per day. Make sure you've got a sufficient amount. Right, off you go. Off you go. I've got a new controller. Right, go on. Right, guys, let the camera readjust. Okay, guys, so we're going to talk about the monkeypox virus because there's a lot happening. There's so many different opinions over on other social media platforms. And guys, if you've not followed us yet, go and give us a follow on those other platforms. So there's mixed, there's a lot of variations in opinions. And guys, I will always say the same thing. Always err on the side of safety. It makes there's no reason to not err on the side of safety. Now, let's go back in time slightly to when the other crazy business happened in 2000 or whatever. Yeah, 2000. Now, if you remember, if you go through, if you go through the chronological events in your head, there was a time when this was only happening in China, and we were in the UK, and we were like, oh, this is never going to come here. It's never going to happen to us, And then it happened, and then all the craziness happened. And when these things happen, they happen really fast. So just, for context, our family, we said, right, okay, as soon as there's one case in the United Kingdom, we are going to take action. And that action was make sure we've got food and water in our house, make sure we can lock down, and make sure we can isolate ourselves. Now, these are precautions that you take yourself because we don't know what the future holds. We don't know what's coming. We don't know whether there's another virus and it's going to be a global killer. We just genuinely don't know. I mean, we could literally be sat here in a week, all going out on a Wednesday, banging us pants and clapping for us carers. Mad stuff happens really quickly. So what do we know about this virus so far then? The monkeypox virus. What do we know? What's come out? What's been new? So they're saying that this virus could already be in the United Kingdom. And if it's already in the United Kingdom, you can pretty much guarantee it's in every other country in Europe. And as well, it's only going to be a matter of time before this thing spreads to the United States. Now, I'll read you this article here, guys. Man who contracted monkeypox describes horrendous symptoms as deadlier virus, very likely to be in the UK. So the clade 1B strain has been confirmed in Sweden and Pakistan after first being detected in the DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo. That's not democratic and it's not a republic. The World Health Organization declared the outbreak of a global health emergency this week due to it spreading to 13 African countries, where more than 15,600 cases and 537 deaths have been reported. Now, that is a lot of fatalities, and if this thing spreads, which it looks like it's going to do, we could be in a situation where people have become complacent. People don't take precautions. People don't take safety measures. And guys, I'm not saying that there's a lot of talk online and there's a lot of people online, saying, oh, I'm not going to be doing this. I'm not going to be doing that. It's all fear and control. And all those arguments may be true. But guys, just bear with me, okay? Take your own security safe, because once you let your security down, it's hard to dial it back up, especially if somebody in your family is being infected. But if you keep a high level of security, and when these things happen, realistically, the only way to protect yourself is to isolate yourself. All the rest of them, I don't really feel they work, and I understand not everybody's going to be able to do that. And again, you've got to put this all down to context. I'll give you an example. So, hang on. So back in the day, 2020, when the madness was about, I used to, on a Monday, you know, I have my Monday jobs to do, and it's, oh, I'll go here, I'll go there, you know, I'll X, Y, and Z. I used to go to a little corner shop close to where I live, and it was that time where I think you was only allowed to have like 3 people in a shop, and you had to do the social distancing and all the rest of it. So there was a queue outside the shop, and you get in the queue, you'd all be there keeping 6 feet apart and the rest of it. And there was a guy, like an older guy. He was there. He had his gloves on. He had his mask on, and then he had, like, you know, the visor as well. That go anyway. He had all the protective equipment, and he would wait, and he'd say, "No, don't go in there. Don't go in. I'm waiting until everybody's out because I want to be the only one in." And then he'd say to the people, you know, behind him, he'd say, "You know, when I go in here, I want to be the only person in here." So he'd go in there, and, you know, he'd buy. And it always astonished me that he was that concerned about what was happening. He was that worried about becoming infected. You know, he had the mask, he had the face mask, he had the visor, the gloves. He believed, and you know, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this, he believed that he could have caught something fatally by going to that shop. But he still went every Monday to get his newspaper. Guys, okay, if there's something this dangerous cutting around, and it's, you know, and it's this deadly, guys, trust me, don't bother getting your newspaper. You're going to be fine. Look on your phone, subscribe or whatever, get the app. All right. This is, you know, so we need to understand the concept of this and understand that people go crazy really quickly, and people don't think logically. And this monkeypox virus, it's got a very, it looks very, you've seen the lesions on the skin, and they, you know, they look terrifying, you know, and you can just imagine people, if we start to see people walking around with these lesions, it's going to be absolutely terrifying. You know, people are going to be scared. There's going to be mass hysteria. You're going to get a Karen factor, and you're going to get all these things, you know, just coming into this cauldron of chaos. Now, guys, the reason for me doing this video, it's not to dispel anything, and it's not to scaremonger or emphasize anything. It's just to say we genuinely don't know what's going to happen. And I think a lot of people could be complacent because what's previously happened, you know, and have hesitancies to certain sort of medical interventions and all the rest of it. All I'm saying in this video is just be aware of what's happening. Have good triggers in your family. You know, I think in our family, well, in fact, I'll tell you 100% it is. You know, in our family, as soon as there's a case, you know, as soon as there's a case of monkeypox confirmed in the United Kingdom, you know, we will take action as a family. Now, that action will probably just be make sure we've got sufficient PPE, check and test everything, and recheck all, you know, our food and water, just so we've got, you know, peace of mind in ourselves that if we do have to lock down like that, and all of a sudden Keir Starmer's up there, and he's, you know, he stood there with his 2 scientists left and right, and we're saying, yeah, follow the science, Wednesdays out, bang the pans. You know, we know as a family that we can do that straight away, because like I say with everything, when these things happen, like I said earlier, if this thing goes nuclear in Ukraine, like I keep saying, when these things happen, people go crackers. You get the Karen factor. You know, you will go to like your local supermarket, as the Tesco, Aldi, whatever it is, and the woman behind the checkout counter, she will overnight be the world's first and foremost expert on virus contagion and PPE. She will. She just will. And you've got to accept that. People will be getting angry. People will be having arguments. People will be breaking out in fights. I can remember waiting for another supermarket to go in when the craziness was happening, and there was a woman went in a pushchair, and she put a load of cans of what's the energy drink, Black Hole with the green Monster. She put a load of the Monster energy drink. She stole a load of energy drink basically, and as she was coming out the shop, the shop assistants followed her, and they were saying, look, we're risking our lives to, you know, we're risking our lives so you guys can buy food. And, you know, if you get to that stage where you genuinely feel you're risking your life so someone else can buy food, take the day off work, guys, okay? You know, it's that simple. We need to look at the reality of things, all right? We shouldn't be putting ourselves in unnecessary risk. We shouldn't be putting ourselves in unnecessary harm's way. So that's why, you know, we need to have these good triggers. And in my past videos, I've spoke about these triggers when we talked about the riots, and I said, you know, we need to have measures in place so we can, what did we say? What is it? Hibernate, relocate, evacuate, you know, and have good triggers. So I gave this hibernate, relocate, evacuate in the context of if you get caught up in these riots, in these mass civil disorders. But again, you know, you can use the same, you know, security model to look at this if there's a virus in your area, you know, exactly the same. At what point are you and your family going to hibernate? It may be the case that you may think, you know what, I'm not actually going to wait for the government to tell me. We're going to do this now because we actually think this is a lot worse than it is. And, you know, equally, you know, there's lots of different things, but we just need to talk about them with our families, talk about that with our loved ones. Don't forget your pets as well. Make sure you get your kids involved because your kids need to know as well. You know, there's an old RAF saying, when you do your parachuting course in the military, you go to RAF Bryce Norton and you get the parachute jump instructors, PJIs, and their motto is knowledge dispels fear. Now, they use that and say, you know, when you know how your parachute works and you know the aerodynamics and you know how everything works and the kit and equipment, that knowledge will stop you being scared. That doesn't really work when you're looking out the back of an aeroplane at like 27,000 feet and you're looking down at night time thinking, oh, what's happening? Anyway, but, you know, knowledge dispels fear. And what I'm saying is, you know, talk to your kids about it. Say, you know, you don't need to scare them, but, you know, talk to them. Say, hey, listen, you know, this is the world we live in. You know, there may or may not be a virus that's moving around or anything, you know, just explain to them that what's going to happen in what stage, because that knowledge will dispel fear from your children. Anyway, guys, that is just a quick short video. If there are any updates, I will let you know. Oh, just quickly, guys, so this came out a couple of minutes, 6 minutes ago. I wasn't really gonna, I just popped up then, I've just seen it. So I'll just read you the headline. I'm reading this the first time. Russia-Ukraine war latest. Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant safety deteriorating after drone strike. Warning from UN nuclear watchdog comes as Ukraine crises insane Russian claim that criticizes, as Ukraine criticizes insane Russian claim that Kiev is plotting an attack on plant in Kursk, that's how you pronounce it. So from the headlines, we're looking at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. It's the biggest nuclear power plant in Europe. And again, Ukraine don't really have a good track record with nuclear power plants. But anyway, but they're saying the safety is deteriorating after a drone strike. And also Ukraine is criticizing the insane Russian claim that Kiev is plotting an attack on the nuclear power plant, I believe, in Kursk. Let me go down and see if there's anything. I'll just scroll down to the bottom, see if there's anything. No, I'll put the link in the bio. I'll put the link in the description to this, guys, so let you have a look yourselves. Anyway, guys, that's it. I'm going to go. Make sure you get your family safe, all squared away. Like my little girl said, 3 litres of water per person per day if you forget everything. That is it, guys. I am going to mag to grid, and if there's no further announcements, I'll see you guys in the morning.